Ben Askren gave us an update on his health. Even though he had to go back to the hospital, he says he's getting better and making progress. It's not easy going through all that, but he seems to be staying positive.
What's up, guys? Update number 9. So I kicked some butt on this walker. I did a full lap earlier. That was the first time I did a full lap. So I'm gonna try to do a full lap again. Hopefully I see I'm making some progress. I'm getting better even though I'm stuck here in the hospital.
5.
That's progress. I'm gassed. Seems pathetic. One lap of walking can get you there tired. But that's my almost 3rd lap today, so I'm making some good progress. Hope you guys are doing the same with your laps.
Some exciting fight announcements are in. Abus Magomedov will face Joe Pyfer at UFC 320 on October 4th. Magomedov is on a 3-fight win streak, with his latest win coming against Michel Pereira back in April. Joe Pyfer, on the other hand, is riding a 2-fight streak himself, his most recent being a solid decision win over Kelvin Gastelum in June. And here's one that's sparking a lot of talk. Artem Lobov is going to fight Zubaira Tukhugov at PFL Dubai on October 3rd. This rivalry actually kicked off the whole Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov feud, so it has history. It's Artem's first fight since 2018 when he lost to Michael Johnson. Tukhugov hasn't fought in a while either. His last fight was a win by split decision over Elves Brenner at UFC 284 in 2023. Caio Baralho shared his thoughts about Robert Whittaker, and it's kind of sad to hear. After Whittaker's recent split decision loss to Rainier de Ridder, Caio feels like retirement might be near for the former champ. Caio said he's a huge fan and has massive respect for Whittaker, calls him a legend and one of the greatest in the middleweight division. But, he said, it just doesn't seem like Rob wants to be in there anymore. Caio pointed out how Whittaker's body language and facial expressions say a lot. He doesn't think Whittaker wants to go through another brutal 5-round war. It's tough to hear, but maybe he's right. He finished by saying, "It's just not his moment anymore. I think he's very close to retiring." Renato Moicano showed up on Ariel Helwani's show and fired back at Brendan Schaub. If you missed it, Brendan recently went off on Renato for not accepting the UFC antitrust lawsuit settlement money, which Renato said was about $200,000. Renato didn't hold back. He called Brendan's comedy terrible.
The thing that I want to say is, sometimes when I'm doing the Show Me the Mind podcast, I cannot articulate like that. I cannot say the things that I believe in because it's a 1-hour show and I have to be funny. You know, I have to be funny. I want to be funny. Sure. I'm speaking on my second language, and so that's why I can understand why the people clip and they say, "Hey, this guy is dumb," you know. And if you think yourself as dumb, think the people that watch the Brendan Schaub show on YouTube, the comedian, the special. That's terrible. Okay, brother. Even I can do better than that, brother. And I don't even speak English, and I can be funnier than you, my brother. So,
Papa catches stray.
Chael Sonnen came in confident, like always. He says the UFC is definitely working on booking Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan next. That's despite Ilia recently saying he'd rather vacate his title than fight Arman, but Chael says it's happening 100%. He made it clear. He's not guessing. He said, "This is fact." He explained that things have changed for Arman lately and added he has inside info. His best man at his wedding is Arman's wrestling coach, Daryl Christian. Chael also spoke to coach Sam Kalavita, who filmed Khamzat Chimaev training, and guess what? Arman was right there in the room. But Chael said the biggest sign was what Ilia did recently. He said he didn't want the fight. According to Chael, that's Ilia's move. He said Anderson Silva used to do the same thing. Deny fights at first, let the drama build, fake an injury, then accept. Chael broke it down. Ilia always says no at first, then eventually says yes. He said Arman had to go through hell, got licensed, trained, weighed in, and even sat in the front row watching guys like Paddy Pimblett get attention while he didn't. Now Chael believes Arman will finally get his shine, and when it comes to the matchup, Chael said Arman is the hardest fight for Ilia. Everyone's looking at Ilia. He's the champ, undefeated, on fire, but if Arman gets his hands on you, that's a real problem. Israel Adesanya posted a clip sparring with Alexander Volkanovski.
Rounds.
That's enough.
Pull that pressure, Bob.
Sean O'Malley gave his thoughts on Merab Dvalishvili's upcoming title defense against Cory Sandhagen. He said if Merab can grab hold of Cory, it's going to be a long night for him. Sean also spoke about possibly fighting Cory himself someday. He said it's definitely a fight that's going to happen down the line.
It's me and Cory have very similar styles. Cory did do a really good job against Umar, creating scrambles and like keeping his hips high when Umar tried to get to his back. Umar and Merab have different grappling strengths and techniques, but man, I think if Merab can get a hold of Cory, I just don't see. Merab felt so strong and just really strong in those certain positions. His gas tank's ridiculous. I don't know. I think if I had to guess, Merab, but it's hard for me to count Cory out because I do think Cory, like, skill for skill, is one of the best guys in the UFC. I think he's got more skills overall than Merab, but Merab, that skill set he does have is so good, so dominant. It's very Khabib-like in a sense, and it's hard to count either one of those guys out. But yeah, if I had to guess, I'm kind of leaning towards Merab, but Cory, it wouldn't be surprised if Cory goes out there and does something spectacular.
Well, Cory said that if he were to win, he would want you to be his first title defense. How would you approach that matchup?
I wouldn't say no. If they said, hey, Cory beat Merab, you're fighting Cory for the title, I'd feel a little weird coming off 2 losses to fight for the title again. But I would, I'm not gonna say no to a title fight, especially against Cory. Yeah, me versus Cory. I was actually trying to fight Cory when the co-main event fell out for that Max and Dustin fight. I threw my name out there to UFC. I was like, 3 weeks, me versus Cory would be sweet, but it didn't really make sense for the UFC. Cory versus Merab was the next fight to make. But yeah, me versus Cory is a very interesting fight. That's one that's bound to happen sooner.
Ray Longo chimed in with his take on Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. He believes Dricus has the edge going into this middleweight title defense.
And ultimately, who do you like? UFC 319 du Plessis v Chimaev.
Yeah, really, really excited for this fight. I think the build-up kind of ended up being perfect too, even with all the missed fights and this and that. I think it actually added towards the excitement of the fight. But man, I tell you, I like, again, Dricus has really grown on me to where I really starting to love the guy. Like, I like the tenacity. I don't feel like, and again, that doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying, optically, he doesn't look like the best guy around. He's awkward. But man, the guys that are just tough and gritty and got the gas tank and belief in themselves, sometimes, man, it just goes such a long way. And I think that's what I'm seeing in du Plessis. And plus, he's a big, strong kid. So that's the game to me. It looks like, can Chimaev get it done within 2 rounds? And can Dricus weather the storm and get it done in the 4th and 5th round? And I'm leaning towards Dricus dragging that fight into the 4th and 5th round. I don't think that other guy wants anything to do with rounds 4.
Alex Pereira dropped some intense training clips on his Instagram. He's getting ready for his rematch against Magomed Ankalaev for the light heavyweight title at UFC 320.
Mano! Sai! Toma retada! vai! Aqui! Vai! 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 Rodeia! Rolefão! Vai, rolefão! Isso! Deixa não! Vai baixo! Não vai levantar! Não vai bater! Isso! Ei! Boa! Stay on! Stay down!
Last week, Dean Thomas made a bold claim. He said if Khamzat Chimaev beats Dricus at UFC 319 and becomes the new middleweight champ, it would be a disaster for the UFC. Why? Dean said it's because of Khamzat's reliability issues. Every time he's booked, there's always a fear he might pull out. That's a big concern for the promotion. Bilal Muhammad didn't agree at all. He responded on his YouTube channel and broke down why he thinks Dean is wrong.
What the fudge Dean Thomas is talking about, but I think he's way off on this one. I think it'll be one of the biggest things for the UFC if Chimaev wins the belt. I think it'll be probably one of the biggest superstar right now the UFC has. He's already a star. He already has that invincible aura about him. I think it's only going to get bigger, especially if he goes out there and dominates Dricus, who's on a hot streak. And I think he can. I think he can go out there and finish him dominantly, or even like Habib said, just strike him. I think he could outstrike him. He'll make it look easy if he keeps it on the feet, I think. Yeah, Dricus has a chin, he has cardio, he has an awkward style, he has toughness, but I think Chimaev's a lot cleaner. If he keeps it standing, I think he'll be able to keep that pace the whole 5 rounds and even hurt him. He showed a lot of his power, and he's shown that he's working hard. He's only getting stronger at 185, he's showing his body is forming out to it, so I do think he could do it dominantly. I know Dean Thomas said that he won't be as active, but I think a lot of that just comes from not being able to get into the U.S. Now he's in the U.S., he's been training in L.A., he's fighting in Chicago, especially if he wins the belt. I think it'll be easier for him to stay down here. I think you're way off, Dean. Cheering for Chimaev. I think he wins. I hope he wins. Dricus, you suck. But yeah, Chimaev, you need it.
Dricus du Plessis said something very real in a recent interview. He called Israel Adesanya the best fighter he's faced so far. They fought last summer and Dricus won via submission in the 4th round. Talking to B-Way, Dricus explained that it's not just about who was the toughest. He said Adesanya was the best in terms of skill, timing, and danger. He admitted he was really nervous before that fight because he knew how good Israel is. He said, I spent so much time looking up to him, studying him. He was the benchmark. That respect is real. Dricus added that the fight was tough for both of them, and if you watched it, you could see that. But when it comes to pure toughness, he said Brad Tavares or Sean Strickland gave him the most brutal fights. Just the amount of punishment they could take and keep going, it left an impression on him. And finally, Jon Anik didn't hold back. He wasn't happy at all with Sean O'Malley calling for a short-notice fight against Cory Sandhagen. Cory is already set to fight Merab for the bantamweight title at UFC 320. Jon said it left a bad taste in his mouth. He felt like it made no sense at all. The official Anik and Florian podcast posted the clip on X, and yeah, Jon was clearly frustrated. He thinks it's just not the right move. That's going to wrap it up for today's news. Thanks for watching.